What is up there, guys? This is Cob, and this right here might be one of the most difficult videos I'm ever going to record, while keeping in mind that I try to be positive in these update videos. Whenever new patch notes come out, no matter how apocalyptic it seems, I do my best to put a positive spin on it, to be constructive, to say, okay, Blizzard, I see what you're trying to do there. This is what I think you can maybe do a little bit better. All in all, I think that we're going to be okay as a spec. I love saying that in my videos, you know, everyone's going all crazy in the comments, it's all negative, and let's just try and be constructive about it, team. Now I want you to close your eyes for a moment, okay? Close your eyes, I can tell if you haven't closed them. Imagine a world in which Shadowburn, the Shadowburn we all know and love, the Shadowburn which is basically keeping Destro in the game when it comes to PvP right now. Although the 15% Chaos Bolt damage buff that recently came in a hotfix is helping out the Chaos Bolt spec again. Forget about that for a moment. Imagine a world in which Shadowburn has a 12-second cooldown. Okay, that is a pretty miserable existence that I'm envisioning right there. Now, imagine that Shadowburn not only has a 12-second cooldown, just like Conflagrate, but Shadowburn also replaces Conflagrate when you pick it. Welcome to the patch 7.1.5 PTR. Where to begin? I mean, it does exactly the same damage as it did before. At least right now. Okay, I'm just gonna preface this right here. Okay, some little glimmers of hope. Whatever you think about the Shadowburn spec, some people fucking hate it. Some people think it's okay. Some people just play it because it's the most viable. At least right now, majority of people think it's a bit of an abomination, but it's what we got right now as Destro. Okay. Like, yes, I think it's what's basically keeping Destro viable on the live servers. Now, patch 7.1.5 has been up on the PTR for something like 6 or 7 hours, okay? It's not been up for very long at all. It's very, very subject to change. Blizzard have said, that things are going to be changing around quite a lot, and more changes are going to be added as the PTR develops a little bit. This is just like the first wave of changes. You're going to notice that some talents have been changed around as well. We'll get to that when we fucking get to it, okay? Let's just think about Shadowburn for now. So, right now, on the PTR, right now, this current iteration, Shadowburn deals between, I don't know, 45 and 80k damage, depending on your mastery roll, so it hits like the same that it does right now on live. It no longer costs a soul shard, which I guess that's okay, right? It generates 1 soul shard. That sounds a lot better than it is. That sounds a lot better than it is. If you go Shadowburn spec, you're not casting Chaos Bolts, okay? Because you don't get to spec into Backdraft. I should probably have the fucking mouse showing right now. Okay, the mouse should be showing. So when you go into Shadowburn, you don't actually get to spec into Backdraft, because for some reason Backdraft is still a talent. Along with Demonic Circle, these two should just be both baseline. I don't know why Blizzard have been so fucking stubborn about it, but it is what it is. So you generate a soul shard that you're just never ever going to use with Shadowburn, and if the target dies, you generate 1 additional soul shard if they die within 5 seconds of being Shadowburned. Alright, I mean, that's a small lovely little positive about the spell, I guess, kind of, but then again not really because of the reasons aforementioned. And it replaces Conflagrate, and right now on the PTR, as things stand right now with this current build, which could change, if you spec into Shadowburn, you no longer get to root targets with Entrenched in Flame, because Conflagrate roots targets for 3 seconds. This effect does not break from damage, so Entrenched in Flame is essentially muted as a talent. That might well change. Entrenched in Flame might come to encompass Shadowburn as well, which it should in fairness, and also it mutes Conflagration of Chaos as of for the time being. Conflagrate has a chance to guarantee your next Conflag to critically strike and increase its damage by your crit strike chance. That's also muted if you pick Shadowburn. Now I'm going to go out there and say, even though this is subject to change, as it stands right now, I think this is actually the single worst change I have ever seen. Fuck being positive, alright? This is actually just the worst fucking change I've ever seen to a single ability ever in World of Warcraft's history. That might not be complete. I don't play any of the classes. I played Destro for the entire time. I'm probably missing a lot of other classes. Maybe a lot of worse shit has happened. But this basically just kills the Shadowburn spec. You can't do it anymore. You can't do that. It's just finished. It's over, man. Okay, why would you ever spec this? I'm trying to just think of a scenario where this is actually better than Incinerate. The only difference between, in Conflagrate, the only difference between this iteration of Shadowburn and Conflagrate is that, does it actually do more damage? Does like 20% more damage on a Shadowburn? Does about 20% more damage, and if the target dies within 5 seconds, you get an extra soul shard. That's the actual only difference. It's fucking unplayable. It's completely unplayable. Now, again, regardless of what you think of the Shadowburn spec, it's difficult to imagine anybody really agreeing with an entire branch of a spec's PvP, right? An entire aspect, because you could either go Case Bolt or Shadowburn, right? You at least had a couple of choices in PvP. Now you just don't. So basically, I'd imagine that Destro is doing okay, right, with the 15% damage buff right now on live. I haven't really got around to testing that yet. That'll probably be the next video to go up, if not the one after. So the spec for Destro right now is mandatorily this, for PvP at least. You have to go Backdraft. You don't have a fucking choice in this first year anymore, okay? You go Shadowburn, you build Soul Shards with Shadowburn to never use on Chaos Bolts anymore. And you can't cleave out a load of damage because, what, Shadowburn's on cooldown? What do? Spam instant fucking immolates and cleave those with Wreak Havoc? Do you start casting fucking 1.6 second cast Incinerates that barely do any damage while Shadowburn's on cooldown? you have to go Backdraft. So you go Backdraft. You then have to go Reverse Entropy because look at what they've done. Okay? Eradication and Cataclysm swapped places. Okay? What they've done is actually reduce the amount of choices that you actually have on these talent trees. Again, at least from a PvP perspective, right? Why would you ever have Eradication and Reverse Entropy on the same tier? One of them reduces Case Bolt's cast time. One of them gives you, I guess, more damage from a Case Bolt spec. You have to go for the reduced cast time every time. You don't even have there's no fucking option here. So you go Reverse Entropy. Mortal Coil, Soul Harvest, mandatory. Dark Pact, mandatory. Grimmav Sack for BGs, Grimmav Service, mandatory for arenas. And Soul Conduit, fucking mandatory, because Havoc is muted when you pick up Focus Chaos, which is going to be the new talent that you have to go to mandatorily in 7.1.5, so you've got Focus Chaos, Entrenched in Flame, still the best. You're just forced into playing a Case Bolt spec. You just have no choice. Patch 7.1.5 was kind of touted as being the patch that was going to revitalize a lot of the specs, give some specs back some utility. Hunters are getting their, I think all Hunter specs are getting some traps back. Rogues are getting back Shroud of Concealment. I think that I wasn't alone in hoping that Warlocks would get baseline Demonic Circle back. Or baseline Backdraft back, because these things just shouldn't be talents. I was really expecting one of these talents to make a comeback this patch. Instead, our talent tree has been reshuffled in such a way that you don't even get to choose between Eradication and Soul Harvest anymore. Eradication is now just a non-talent empowered life tap. Life tap increases your damage dealt by 10% for 10 seconds. It's a slight improvement, I guess, on the mana tap maintenance buff. I don't mind empowered life tap in a Shadowburn spec, which you can't play anymore. So it's just I don't know what else to say, really. Okay. You know what? Let's be constructive. I'm gonna be constructive. A bunch of people have already disliked the video at this point and have left comments like, "Lol, Destro deserved it. Fuck Destro locks, you know." But whatever. I'm just putting in the constructive bit now for people who've actually stuck around to watch the full extent of the video. Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for sticking around. If Shadowburn's gonna have, okay, it can't replace Conflagrate. Just remove that component completely, okay? This is what they need to do. If this is the path that they're going to go down, Backdraft, baseline talent, fucking has to be. It just has to be a passive for Destro. It can't be a fucking talent choice. It doesn't work. Just like the Destro Mastery Blizzard, it doesn't fucking work, alright? So, you need to make Shadowburn, fair enough, 10-second recharge time, or 12-second base recharge time, or whatever. Give it like 2 or 3 charges. You need to triple its damage, at least. At least triple its damage. So that one Shadowburn, say you have 3 charges, similar to Conflagrate, so you can't just like spam them forever. Costs 1 soul shard, deals anywhere between 150k and 220k damage. You can kind of save them up, you can use them with cooldowns to buff up the damage a little bit, or you can just be spamming them with Wreak Havoc up, some cleave damage. But it's only 3 charges, and they're each on a separate 10-second cooldown. Simple as. It's quite similar to the current iteration that we've got here, only the damage isn't laughable, and it doesn't replace Conflagrate. It's ridiculous that it replaces Conflagrate. That is unbelievable to me. And then when Shadowburn is on cooldown, you can Conflagrate and get Backdraft and actually incinerate things. You could just have baseline Backdraft, so you could actually cast some Chaos Pulse if you wanted to. Then fair enough. Make it maybe just 1 charge of Shadowburn if you're going to like triple the damage and make it actually hard hitting with a cooldown, you know? Because then you can go reverse entropy and we can start casting Chaos Bolts again while Shadowburn is on cooldown. Okay? That's all we have to do here. There's nothing more to be done. This, what we've got here, this right here, what you're looking at right now, this is the only viable spec for competitive PvP. Take a good look at this, right? Because this is what we're going to be looking at for a long, long time after patch 7.1.5. If this PTR continues on down this course, right? This and this. That's it. There's no other choices. Look what they did to Essence Drain. Just read that. Whenever you heal yourself with Drain Life, the enemy target deals 5% reduced damage to you for 6 seconds. That's like a 5-second cast time Curse of Weakness. I can't believe it. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. Fair enough, Essence Drain, little bit horrible, little bit cheese ball to face up against in 2v2s. If they're nerfing it due to 2v2s though, their heads just aren't screwed on straight. 2v2s don't matter. Who gives a damn about 2v2s, man? At least the Chaos Bolt spec will probably be viable. There we go. Boom. Ended on a positive note. I just can't believe. I can't believe how hard they've executed Shadowburn. It feels like when a Hearthstone card is really overperforming. Think of an example. Warsong Commander, Hearthstone, Patron Warrior. Remember that shit? Anyone who used to play Hearthstone will understand what I'm talking about. They nerfed that card to the point where, even though it was a class card, no one would ever touch that card again. No one would ever fucking even dare to embarrass themselves by including that card in their deck. That's actually what has just happened to Shadowburn. Now, maybe its damage will get like fucking quadrupled, because that's what it needs to even dream of being viable in this current state. So if you do crit on like 2 in a row, you'd be pushing like 800, 900k damage in a couple of Shadowburns. Even with that, I just don't think... That's both of them critting as well. Even with that, I just don't think that this spec would ever see the light of day ever again. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's a very, very uncertain time for Warlocks. I think that we should just... Even if you don't like the Shadowburn spec, play the shit out of it, okay, while you can. Alright, play the shit out of it while you can, because it's gone in patch 7.1.5. That's all from me. Lob your thoughts down below. Want to hear what you guys think. I'd say try and be constructive about this. I'm struggling myself. I'm struggling myself a little bit to remain constructive after seeing this, because this is pretty special. This one really hits it out the park, you know what I mean? But there you go. Do share your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, even with this knowledge in mind. And I'm going to catch all you guys just a bit later. Remember, you can support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing, and checking out our Patreon page, which is always linked below in the description. So cheers again, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow.
I really need to drink, but if I stop giving you, you can...
Man, I've actually got fucking Doomguard on him, man. Fucking Doomguard on his ass, dude.